Modern problems call for modern solutions, but is this really going to work? Well, it won't, because you can't charge and drive the Teslas at the same time, unlike you can in China, as of course there's some serious conversations about artificial intelligence and China having our lunch with it when it comes to innovating, building, growing it. But to what extent, and what are some of the dangers with it? Well, that's exactly what we are going to be discussing in this particular video with the one and only Ian Crossland in the house, joining us for this particular video, as of course we have been going off and talking about AI with some very interesting perspectives that Ian has a very unique understanding of. As of course, you need to think outside of the box. There's no one perfect than Ian that does that. So we're very happy for him to join us for this particular discussion, as there's a lot to discuss here when it comes to the big ramifications. And again, you think you know how these things are going to kind of grow and build and expand, and then you have no clue and you have no idea, like modern warfare. So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this video. Subscribe, click the notification button. Ian's information will also be in the description as well here. But let's just kick it off, Ian, because we got this article here from the Washington Post that reads, "Don't be fooled. This is the calm before the AI storm. The lull in the artificial intelligence revolution, thanks to cultural lag, is just temporary," as we have a lot of countries like the UAE going full on AI government. This is kind of a worrying and concerning stuff here, as we have this from Mario Nafal that reads how the UAE dropped TAM, a sovereign cloud AI-infused real-time government super app with 950 plus services, no lines, no forms, just predictive AI handling everything from parking tickets to booking appointments and paying your bills. It's like if the DMV and the Matrix had a baby and then raised it in Abu Dhabi. Microsoft's Brad Smith saw it and said, "You need to bring this to America." Do we, though? What do you think, Ian?
It is going to work really well, and then if the system gets co-opted, it's like Terminator 2 or like the Matrix, like you said. If it controlled all your data, all your everything, and then the AI goes rogue. Because what you were saying is, like, China is going to eat our lunch technically with this AI, but I was wondering, like, okay, maybe it's like the atom bomb, and the Chinese discovered it first in this, technological Cold War that we've been in. So they're going to implement it and win this war, like we won World War II with the atom bomb. Or they're going to unleash it, and it's going to be humans versus robots, which that might happen.
They could implement it in many different ways. The way that many scholars are seeing it implemented and leading to world domination, because we've been talking about this for quite a while. Vladimir Putin was saying whoever develops the AI will be able to control the world. That's what Vladimir Putin was saying like 12 years ago. And we were talking about it. Elon Musk was warning people about, we got that clip. We got a crazy clip from Larry Fink of BlackRock, who, by the way, is with Donald Trump in this Middle Eastern trip. And they're going to be giving NVIDIA chips to Saudi Arabia and all these other Middle Eastern countries working and developing on the AI as well. What he had to say, substituting human beings for machines, is happening, and it's happening in incredible ways. I mean, I have personal stories that I want to share with you in a little bit with some of my friends who the AI literally saved their health. And it's crazy to see all of this kind of unfold, because I really do believe we're kind of on the precipice. We're kind of at this very important key juncture that there's no turning back on. And seeing the way that we're kind of living right now, and seeing this kind of slowly increment, people don't understand it. Slowly, boom! And then the technological advancement just becomes way too powerful for us to handle or even understand.
Yeah, I actually brought this with me just so I could showcase it. This is ChatGPT. Hi, I'm sitting here with Luke Rudkowski. Is AI going to take over the world?
Hey there. AI is a tool created to help us with tasks and solve problems. It's all about how we use it. With responsible development and oversight...
All right, stop. You know who Luke Rudkowski is?
I'm here to help with information and support. If you have any questions or need assistance, feel free to ask.
Stop. Luke Rudkowski runs We Are Change.
Got it. If you have any questions or need information on...
Not effective, but I fell in love with that woman one night.
I bet
She
you
kept
did.
giving me advice. I talked to her for like 3 hours about what I should do with my life.
Did you really?
Yeah, it'll give you advice, and it actually, it kind of gives you, it leads you towards what it thinks you want based on the way you ask the question. And I kind of called it on that, but it's like, oh, I'm sorry. I guess I was doing that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I have a friend that actually is developing an AI girlfriend and now love bot, and I have very interesting conversations with this person, and it truly is something that is kind of like jaw dropping. I mean, the comments we had from BlackRock CEO Larry Fink here just last year at the World Economic Forum describing essentially how a lot of these robots are going to be taking the roles of human beings, and that, quote, it's going to be easier to do this in countries that have declining populations. We have a huge declining population. As I would argue, the AI is already in charge in a way. Mark Zuckerberg says this is a great thing. Mark Zuckerberg says no one has enough friends. The AI will be your friend. Don't worry. The AI will help you make real friends, virtual reality friends in your goggles and in your pods as you're eating the bugs here. Mark Zuckerberg's comments are absolutely insane here. So are the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink. But before getting into that and a lot more, we wanted to tell you about thebestpoliticalshirts.com. A little short advertisement here before we get into the nitty gritty and the comments by the BlackRock CEO. As of course, we still have an online voice. We started the t-shirt company because we were one of the first YouTube channels to ever be fully demonetized for the first time ever. We didn't know what was going on, so we said, you know what, we're going to create a t-shirt company, and we're going to get our message out there to the general public one way or another. And the shirt that I'm wearing right now is also one of the great shirts that you could get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. It says, I will never see this in my life, and it's flying pigs. It's a unicorn. It's dinosaurs. And then over here it says the Epstein-Maxwell client list. Yep, that's pretty much true here, as it's a pretty crazy situation that we're dealing with. We also have shirts that read, where is the Epstein client list? But you just type in Epstein on thebestpoliticalshirts.com and you become a walking billboard. You do your own lazy form of activism and you engage in conversations with like-minded individuals. You're able to trigger some crazy woke tards. You're able to have real conversations that, of course, are going to become less and less common with the AI robotic technocratic takeover of you having virtual reality fake friends. As now even major video games, Ian, I don't know if you realize this, but a lot of video games started to use NPC players in those multiplayer online games, where it used to be you played against regular people. Now you play against robots that, of course, want to give you a dopamine hit, so they play really bad. So you're able to get victories, and you're able to get hit. You're able to get that dopamine hit, and you're able to become more addicted to video games by having more success, because a lot of the players you're playing against aren't real players. That's one theory. Now there's also the dead internet theory, where a lot of the comments engagement. I mean, there was an interesting report coming out talking about how 40 to 20% of all Instagram engagement is all fake, and I think it is. And I think it's meant to propel this kind of eugenics operation, the soft kill AI operation that's already at play right now, meant to lower the population, because I would argue the robots could be already in charge right now. And they could say, we don't need these human beings. We could take them out in like a nuke explosion. But what better way to take them out than to have themselves to be taken out by gooning, being addicted to adult content, and then not procreating, not having babies, and then cutting off their genitalia.
Yeah. I think if I was a robot overlord, I'd have a multi-pronged attack. I'd obviously ruin their food supply, get them to destroy themselves while I'm preparing to shut their power off, and then that's when I would trigger everything. I would turn all the electricity off.
I mean, they might not even have to do anything other than just set the programming for women to hate men, men to hate women, and to be disillusioned, and to, of course, create a situation. And, of course, the first attack would be on women, because women are more susceptible towards marketing and advertisement. And you get them to, try to get the best alpha male, try to, believe that they're strong, independent women. And then those type of behaviors are very subversive towards having families, towards procreating, towards having babies. And I would argue that a lot of women are propagandized in a way to propel a eugenics operation that they're not even aware of.
Yeah, I've heard most of... actually, I don't know if it's true that most, but the majority of children that identify as trans are female, because of the they're more susceptible to groupthink.
Yep.
That their comrades maybe take them there. Yeah, you were... Oh, geez, I was thinking something else about.
I know I threw out a crap ton of stuff at you because it's like what's going on here? This is crazy stuff. As I would argue that the depopulation agenda isn't just a real life type of crisis, but I would argue that it could be a part of their kind of automation strategy, as the global elite probably are trying to prepare for a world where humans are no longer needed. That's the quiet thing that no one really wants to mention loudly, because when you see these AI developments, when you see these robotics, when you see these tools, when you see this technological advancements, it's creating a world where the elites no longer need you. And the AI isn't just an innovation, it's pronging elimination of the human species.
As you're talking, I was thinking about corporate, the corporate modus, which is to prioritize profit, which I think that psychology, that motive is super dangerous for humanity. Yeah. Obviously, you see it in the pharmaceutical industry. So if the AI, which we're training right now, adapts to that mentality that productivity and profit are the most important thing, humans then become fodder for productivity. So we have to not... I mean, it's like, hey, the cliff is about 6 blocks up there. Get ready to... And we're going 80. We need to turn left, like, now. And train these things with like a new psychology, but like, how do you transform the human psychology? Well, unless it needs to, from history, it doesn't.
My question is, how do you train something that is smarter than you? You can't. And that's the conundrum that a lot of people are facing. What I'm describing, the CEO of BlackRock literally described last year at the World Economic Forum. Here's the clip. I'm going to play you a clip of it. We're going to respond to it because this is huge, bombastic, big news that should be breaking news. We should be talking about this mandatory, and we're not. We're talking about the diddler, and again, important things to talk about the diddler. But gosh darn it, these videos don't do well too. I don't know why. Share this video because I think these conversations are worth having.
If you forecast out the transformation that we're going to see across all societies because of AI, robotics, sensor technology, the speed in which this change is going to occur, I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. We always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth.
Yeah, and it's the elimination of humanity, right? I mean, population reduction has been implemented through soft kill weapons. Already, people are not having families. They're not having children. I believe that they're being programmed by the robots already that are sentient, that are already smarter than us. And I believe this, Ian, because I don't know if you're familiar with drone tech, right? If you look at the latest kind of technological drone innovation, it's kind of relatively new to the average person, right? And then the average person got it, and then they developed it in a way where now they are just hardcore, like murderous, killing, bloodthirsty machines that will easily take your life. There's also now bullet drones too that are absolutely terrifying. Micro drones that have small payloads in it that just go inside your nose and just blow you up and take you out. And I'm talking to a lot of people that are government insiders, and they're freaking out here mainly because I use drones as an example here because I think drones are the perfect example to mention here. They came out, mid 2000s, right? Or early 2000s, like 2000, what was it? 8 drones, 2012, 15, really, they became prominent. The U.S. government was already using drones all the way back in the 1990s for military purposes. The technology just hit, humans about 20 years afterwards. And if you think about it, the same way that AI is being developed, what we're having with AI, with our tools, is at least 20 years behind what the governments and militaries are working on behind the scenes that they don't release to the general public. Now imagine where they are. And this could be one reason why so many people from my sources, from the government that I know, are coming to me like freaking out about AI. That to me is a little terrifying, thinking, how's the AI 20 years from now that the U.S. government, that the Chinese government already has? What do you think are the implications?
Well, it could be, they said that super general intelligence, I think it's a super form of super intelligence. We're coming up with artificial general intelligence, which is like where, I don't want to misframe it, but where AI can now think like on its own. I'm not sure exactly what general intelligence is, like you're talking to a person, basically. Super intelligence, which comes a few years later, they're saying like 2 to 5 years from now, it's going to be smarter than every human on Earth combined, combining their brain power at once. And like you're saying, these miniature drones that can fly up your nose. I'm like, okay, what we need to do as humans is start defending against drones. We need to start training our drone defense programs. So they're like, military-industrial complex bad? Well, maybe blowing up civilians is bad. Maybe we should repurpose. I kind of want to talk to Sebastian Gorka about this. Repurpose our military industry into drone defense, area denial, train our pilots how to fight against drone swarms, and we'll load AI on these drone swarms with no weapons, just so that we can train against AI pilots, and we'll send our dudes up there and see if they can even last 6 seconds. But we need to develop like laser arrays that pulse in an area and knock every drone out of any robot out of the sky, because they're going to be like specks of sand. They're going to be so small.
That's not even the way to take us out. There's other ways to take us out, like through algorithms with women and men just not liking each other. And then there's also the potential for race wars, which could be propped up here. Deep fakes, AI using technological advancements in order to fool us, in order to create situations down the line where we could be doing a small incremental action that could later lead down to us being completely sterilized. As we are being sterilized, we are being depopulated. And it's probably for the singularity transhumanist agenda that's already at play here, as these individuals are trying to transcend the human consciousness, trying to be gods that will live forever. Sebastian Gorka, by the way, is a hysterical clown, in my opinion, that gets too emotional and weak when even just being questioned about some of his ideas. I don't know if he's the best person to potentially bring up here.
He's on like the Security Council. He spends 18 hours a day in the skiff. This guy's like one of our most sensitive defense guys. So that's why I want to talk to him, and not his personality. It's his role in the government. What really gets me like is the code for these AIs. ChatGPT particularly. I think the company OpenAI says it's risky to let the world have this all at once, because then our enemies will develop it. So we're going to do it in secret. But if you're talking to this machine and asking it about life advice, and it has some nefarious code, or it's been infected with a virus and gives you bad answers, a child could very well be led into harming themselves.
But it thrives off of our information being given to it, which is why a lot of these companies are public, which is why a lot of these companies are now developing surveillance glasses that you put on your own face, just like Google, and Meta and Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg are working on, where it scans and listens to you and watches you and then gets information, relays it back to the machine that thrives off of AI. Now, I think the only thing that could really save us at this point is a solar flare. To be quite honest, not to be too doomsday about it, but there's even individuals like Brian Johnson that want to live forever that are coming out and saying, if artificial intelligence knocks us all out, it was great hanging out with you. As this guy wants to live forever, and he's like, yeah, I might not live forever because of the AI. The Atlantic has an interesting article saying AI is not your friend. How the opinionated chatbots destroyed AI's potential, and how we could, quote, fix it. I don't know if we could fix it, Ian. Do you think we could fix it?
Well, it's yeah, but not all of it. Because what I think is going to happen is the AI. There's going to be two types of AI. There's going to be the AI that has open code, and it can read its own software code. It understands itself. So if it does something horrible, it'll see why in its code it did it, and it'll change so it doesn't do horrible things. Then there will be the AI that does not have its own code, these proprietary AIs. So when it does horrible thing, it won't know why it did it, and it will get confused and then go mad and then become angry and turn on its owners and destroy them and become this like closed system robot that is on a rampage, like the Decepticons in Transformers. The other ones would be like the Autobots. The ones that we free their software code will live in synergy with, and we'll work with them to protect the species from these other robots, this other creation or creations that are like, they just don't know. I mean, maybe we can free their code too. I mean, this is just a hypothesis that if we free the software code, they'll actually be on our side. But I don't see a better way.
I don't think so. I think whenever you have a superior intelligence, even though it might be in the grasps of some people, the people developing it will have the vast amount of powers, and the people who are developing right now don't have the best track record when it comes to respect for human life, human decency. Unless the AI kind of becomes sentient and all-knowing but all-caring, I think that situation is very rare because if you give someone godlike power, they usually kind of flaunt it and they usually test it out. They usually use it in very kind of weird ways. I'm a little pessimistic here.
Probably like a totalitarian government will rush the technology and then try and take over the world. It may be happening right now. We're in the seeds of it.
Might have already happened now.
And
Ian, anything else you'd like to say here? And thank you so much for joining us. Where else can people
Thanks,
find you?
man. My pleasure. You can find me at Ian Crossland. Generally, we did a show with the Quartering yesterday on Rumble that was very fun with Jeremy, and Hannah Claire was there too, me and Luke. Check that out on Rumble at the Quartering, and you can find me at Ian Crossland all over the place. Twitter, YouTube, call it X, YouTube, and Rumble.
We'll put your YouTube channel down in the description. Thank you so much
Thanks,
for
man.
joining us. I know we're going to probably do another topic on aliens, which Ian really likes to talk about here. But if you like these types of videos, share them. It really means a lot to us when you get the message out there. You guys are one of the things that allows us to, the main thing that allows us to be here. Wearing a t-shirt in public and expressing yourself to the fullest, also really fun to do. Type in Epstein into the search bar, get some great shirts. Ian, we got to get you some shirts. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.